Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I offer free cut files to my viewers once a month, and because of life circumstances, my May cut files never went out, and I'm also late in posting my June cut files. So today I have for you both cut files from the month of May and the month of June. So let's go ahead and get started with May. I was really happy with these cut files in terms of their beauty and design. However, I did have some challenges getting them to cut, and so I have tried to clean up the files as best I could, but let me give you some tips on these. I would recommend cutting them larger than 2.5 inches. If you have a new blade and a new mat, you're going to have less snagging for these intricate cuts, and that will do better for you. And when I cut these on my Cricut, I use the heavy cardstock setting, and then I use the little drop-down menu to tell it to cut with more pressure. So hopefully all that makes sense, and if it doesn't, go ahead and leave me a comment and I will try and help you out with that. So as you can see, some of these didn't cut out nice and crisply. They were snagging in places and even tore and broke in places. So I have gone in and edited the final project to be a little less intricate than what you are seeing here. And if you're curious about how I created these cut files, I used photos to digitally manipulate them and turn them into cut files. And that is part of why these files are so delicate and intricate, is because they are photoreal cut files. I love to take photos of the flowers in my garden, and so I have a whole collection of photos that I was working from. So these are all my original photographs that I manipulated digitally to turn them into cut files. So let me know what you think of this style of cut files, and do drop me a note if you give them a try and if you have any trouble with them, because I would love your feedback on these. So in a second trial run of my first cut file, it took me 4 minutes, over 4 minutes, to cut these cut files out of heavy watercolor paper. And that was just for a single cut. I actually had to do a double cut in order to get them to cut all the way through. And so these, again, these files are kind of on the intricate side, and they will take you longer to cut, and you will need a little more patience because you might have a little more snagging with these intricate cuts. But I loved how they cut out of this watercolor paper, and I had a good time working with them. After those 2 trial runs, I did go back and digitally alter the images just a little bit to try and get them to be slightly less intricate. Oh, there's my kitty walking by. He's saying hello. So this is what the final cuts look like when I cut them out of just a regular heavy cardstock. And there you can see the comparison that I did on the heavy watercolor paper. So like I said, I would not recommend cutting these smaller than 2.5 or 3 inches big. As you can see, they're about 2.5 wide and 3 inches tall. And that should give you a good size to get all the details of your cut. So looking at these watercolor cut files, I just squished some of my Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink onto a paint palette and wet it down with some water, and used a very wet diluted version around the outside, and then a more saturated color to paint in the flower. And then I used some paint strokes with the most saturated color to give a little bit of detail to these flowers. And I made these flowers for a layout challenge that was about using the color yellow, and that's why I colored them yellow. And I had a great time making these flowers for this project, and I hope you enjoy this cut file. If you have any questions or concerns about the May cut file, please let me know, and you will find links in the show notes right under that like button in order to download these cut files from my blog. So let's go ahead and move on to June. June's cut file is much more simple and straightforward. As you can see here, it is several styles of speech bubbles. You have the classic speech bubbles in 3 shapes, as well as kind of those thought/dream bubbles in the same 3 shapes, and then all of those shapes repeated with hearts cut out of them. So as you can see here, they cut out just fine on my Cricut, and you really shouldn't have any problems. And again, the links to download these from my blog will be in the show notes down below. If you do run into any problems with these cut files, do let me know, and I will address that as quickly as I can. When I'm creating cut files, I usually have a specific inspiration that I'm working from, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. One of my cats recently passed away, and I wanted to capture all of those little things that I realized I said to him on a regular basis. So I used these speech bubbles as a way to capture the words that I used when interacting with my cat. And as you can see here, there's text on those speech bubbles. I do have a layout process video of this project, which goes into more details of how I use my Cricut to get the text on those speech bubbles. So if you want to know more about that, please check out my other video. I will leave links to that for you below. That is it for this month's free cut file video. Again, any questions, comments, concerns, please drop me a note either here or on the contact form on my blog, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I hope you enjoyed these cut files, and I hope you have an artful day. I'll see you next time.